joining us today on the show, in case you haven't heard of them from them yet, Aric Manning, Trails Foundation, Northern Utah.
I can't draw. I can't paint. I can't rhyme. I can rhyme. I'm pretty good. I can't, but I'm not. I'm not.
No.
Modern sense, I'm not art.
Keep going. I want you to say all the can'ts. Just everything you can't do. We got about 15 minutes left.
Oh, you don't have enough time then?
Let's go down that list right now.
No, I wouldn't consider myself artsy at all.
Oh, good Lord.
In the modern sense, which I look at as more like what Brian does. What Todd does.
We have we're on the Ogden City Arts Advisory Committee, and we just had the voting for the Mayor's Awards in the Arts. And one of the categories, and it was the chair that I guess I'm the chair of, is media arts, which means things like podcasting, video, stuff like that. So it is thrown into the arts that you are a very good communicator, storyteller, like Todd said, and a relationship maker. He can make killer relationships with people all across the world from all different types. And he brings them together and he makes them laugh, and that is called art.
Yeah, and you're archiving these stories too. I mean, that's significant.
I love this show. I feel like a better person right now.
No, you
like
are
for real.
a good stuff. You're the best.
Maybe you should
best of
stretch
friends.
across this couch right now. We'll just get as deep as we can with
Please.
you right now.
Oh, I've got the best photo of Aric stretching across.
Talk about your
Well,
mother.
we got to pay extra for that, Brian. Hold it.
No.
That's for Patreon.
You know what I'm talking
I
about.
was going to say OnlyFans. It's whichever one, I guess.
Aric, we got to get to your event coming up, because you're joining your passions, which include communication, because the acronym of the whole event, I think, was originally yours. Not yours, I mean, throughout history. Probably someone else had come up with this.
Sure. You
But-
don't invent new things much anymore.
But you used it personally for other stuff, and then bring it back. So the nut is what we were talking about, the nut, and you can explain what that means. But it does fuse arts and adventure. And so tell us what the nut is, and then who came up with the idea to sort of put those two things together as an event here in town.
Oh, that's a good story, and I know Todd's got me on a timer, so I'm going to go quick here. Nut
Listen, it's loose if it's a good story.
Okay. Oh, then we got
You're probably-
And Brandon has to do all the editing.
we got time. No, so the nut is the Northern Utah Trailfest.
Okay.
And realistically, this was a long time coming. It's something I was looking at doing on a personal level. I have done the Ogden Trail Running Festival on the personal side and the Northern Utah Trail Series, which was nuts. But just an idea.
That's how we met.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Met over nuts.
Yes, we met over nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts are bonding.
They
Yes,
can be.
They can be.
yeah. Binding. But yeah, so Northern Utah Trailfest was an idea.
Bonding.
Yeah.
Bonding. I said bonding. That's pretty good.
Eric
Bonding.
just hears what he wants to hear. Binding.
It
Bonding.
hit me like a second later. That was pretty good. Not a sharp one.
Yeah, if you're quicker than Todd, Eric, we got to talk. So.
Labs mating.
But no, I mean, it came with my new role with the Trails Foundation in Northern Utah, and it was before the pandemic hit, and I reached out, had an idea. I reached out to Todd Ferrario, Weber County Parks and Rec, because of North Fork Park, and I said, hey, I got this idea for an event, and the concept is to bring the trail community together. So, in my professional life, I hear, a lot of conflict on the trails between all trail users. So we're not going to pick, we got bikes, we got horses, we got people on foot, we got people with dogs, but all the above. It's like, it's just conflict sometimes. And I thought, let's bring these groups together to let them understand that we're all the same.
To fight.
Like we're talking.
We'll fight it out.
Is West Side Story? Is that right? Is that the one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is.
they
It
fight.
actually
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
I was going to
yeah.
say, are you going to dance, and who's riding the horse?
Oh
No.
no, but this is brilliant, because
This is.
we all have similar
You-
tastes and for the love of the outdoors
It's
and
just
nature
a different
and the arts.
modality,
Yeah.
right? Whether
Yep.
you're on a horse, on a bike, using your feet, but you're out
Trails.
there most of the time for the same reasons.
Mm-hmm.
With that, if we can get an event where we have two separate courses, so the runners are on one course or hikers, and the bikers are on another, but the start finish is in the same area, you're kind of like coming together, right?
Yep.
And then when you're done, so the idea came, and when I talked to Todd Ferrario, he says, hey, you know what? That's a great idea. Being a nonprofit, I'm okay with this. You're not like, out for personal, like your own business. He says, well, you should reach out to the Goal Foundation because they put events on, right?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, that's great. At the same time I started, they've got a new executive director, Aric Bauman. So I took it to him before the pandemic, and he said, yeah, sounds like a good idea. We could do this together. Well, then the pandemic hit and it got put on hold. But then, it gave us more time to let it marinate and think about just, kind of that festival mentality, right? So it didn't have a name yet. But the idea was that, as well as like bring the community together. So if you're not a participant, you don't do those things, how do you get your families involved, right? So if you're going up and you've got a significant other, a family member, a child, whatever, what can they do? So then it kind of morphed into this big festival idea. And so we met with my team, the Goal Foundation, of course, Weber County Parks and Rec, and we just came up. I mean, it's morphed. This is its second year, and so we learned a lot last year. But you're in the woods. It'd be nice to have some bands, some fire pits.
Yeah, what worked well last year, and then what are you changing for this year?
You know what? Everything we did really worked well because there's camping. We tried to get a lot of groups involved, so not just like our nonprofits, but Weber State had a hike going. We got a astronomer guy out there, and it was a full moon. It's in October. The leaves are changing. The weather was perfect. So we just tried to bring a lot of different community components together to showcase. We had poetry in the woods. We had, poetry readings. We had journal making. So that type of thing. And then, of course, the events. And this year, it's, in my opinion, going to be bigger. We learned a lot, but we also, the bands, we got more vendors. We got food trucks, more music. So we have some Friday night. It's just a fun atmosphere. Like even if you don't participate, it's free, right? You can go up. Everything's free except the food, or you can participate and be a part of it. So a lot of great partners. I know Van Sessions is going to be there as well, with the van near the chute of the start finish.
Don't give me that face, Todd. So what happens is we pull up.
Oh,
yeah,
my bad.
Oh, I think we pull up to an event, and when I put the van in park, musicians just fall out, and then they set up, and then they just start playing songs. It's pretty cool. We didn't plan it like that. I didn't know the van had those superpowers, but that's essentially what happened. It's like a clown car. Yeah.
Well, you've set the expectations. Maybe you should have a Mary Poppins carpet bag too.
We can do that.
Yeah, if the van's that way. I mean, and Aric, you call yourself not an artist? Really?
I didn't do it. It's just an
all that
event.
Together.
I have
5
community
foot tall
events.
wind chimes you can throw in there across the trail. But it's really cool. I appreciate doing that. It's like you took Pinoti 100, rock and roll. I'll stop there. And Vermont 100, and you like compounded them.
Well, there's potential.
Most people don't know what that means.
You made it accessible.
It's probably okay.
Do really most people not know what that means?
Yeah.
No, but the van will be there. We will be playing some background music and then interviewing some of the vendors and some of the musicians and stuff. So it'll be a lot of fun.
It's going to be and like I said, there's a lot of camping. There's VIP camping, tent camping, a lot of camping opportunities. And, knock on wood, like I said, last year the weather was perfect. The full moon just was something we special ordered, and then the leaves changing. We had a drone footage. It looked like a bowl of Fruity Pebbles from the sky. It was absolutely perfect, and that's unfortunate in your first rear event. It's great.
It is, because you know what they say about sequels. Movie sequels are, well, I don't have to say it.
Rocky
but
2.
Just like that even. Didn't even. That one must have hurt, man.
There's exceptions, but
okay.
Yeah, but I think that's why you've overcompensated on the second one, even just a little bit more to make up for that sort of the curse of the sequel. So
I guess you could say that, but I like to think of it as we're just wanting to make it a better experience.
Yeah, 1% better every year.
And it's tough though. Like the one thing we can't control
weather
was probably what made it last year, right? Being the first one. So the bar's set high on something we can't control, because it could rain. I mean, we're in Utah, October. We could have a snowstorm.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
But how fun have your craziest runs or whatever been when the worst conditions were set forth?
Maybe as in the participant side, but I imagine as a vendor and all that, you'd want better weather.
Well, that's when you go
we put up a big canopy. It's like
and Gore-Tex.
2 million by 2
So do you have the option
they
where
know
people
it's
can just
awesome.
run next to you, like 4 people, one on each corner of a canopy, and just hold the canopy and run with you, and so that you don't get wet?
It's a VIP. That's
VIP.
This is the VIP experience.
Yeah.
And no, we don't do that.
Yeah, okay.
Yet.
What are the
Everybody is equal. There's no disparity.
what are the distances
opportunity.
for the race? You have running and
cycling, and they're timed events. So again, we wanted to do something a little different that this area is not used to seeing. I mean, on the bike side, there's a couple, but on the run side, there's really not. So it's not a distance. On the bike side, we have a 6 and a 3 hour event. So how many loops you can get in 7.5 miles. On the run side, we have a 9 hour, a 6 hour, and a 3 hour event. So it's just as many laps as you can get in during your allotted time frame. Right.
Okay.
And they're actually pretty popular events. Again, on the run side, and this community hasn't seen a lot of them locally. They've definitely picked up in the last 2 years, go figure. But it's fun because you can do a lap, you can stop and rest, do whatever you want at that point. You can run with family members. Last year we had like a mom and a daughter run. Sometimes a daughter would go off to the side and hang out with her friends. Mom would do another lap. So it's really for anybody. Like if you could do one lap in 3 hours, that's great. So, I mean, we tried to make it something for everybody, but also at the same time, if you do want to test your endurance, it's an endurance event, like how hard can you push, how far can you go? Last year in the 9 hour event was just super fun. We had a gentleman come down from Pocatello. He won the 9 hour. Second place was a local legend, Heidi Waddups, and she finished second, but not far behind. The guy was running scared. He said that. He goes, I wasn't going to go out for another lap, but she was hauling. And then he finished that last lap in like super fast, and he's like, I thought she was on my heels the whole time.
Do you know how many miles he ran?
No, not off the top of my head. Okay. I could have brought that if I would have been prepared, but I didn't think we would get into that.
Yeah, no, that's deep.
Yeah, it's super deep. But yeah, I mean, it's just a fun. It's literally for everybody, and there's a lot of great things with art, music, and you've got the component of being out on the trails, and there's an opportunity to go hiking, even if you're not in the event. So it's something I'm super proud of, to be honest with you, that it's got year 2, and there's a lot of excitement around it. Working with Goal, working with Weber County Parks and Rec, Todd and Jennifer have been nothing but super supportive of this event, and really helped us with the venue.
Does it help your nonprofit?
Yeah, I mean, hoping more. It's a free event, so really it comes from like a sponsor or the athletic side of things, a participant side. But yeah, I mean, the proceeds go back to Goal and Trails Foundation, so they absolutely help. The idea is to slowly grow the event even more and learn something new every year. And, we've had, communication with people that have done it before, and hey, you guys should do this, and hey, maybe this would be cool. And we try and listen, but at the same time, we have very small staff on both sides.
About budgets
and budgets. So we do the best. I mean, I don't know. It's just a great event. It really is. I mean, we had a lot of, positive feedback. The camping side is really cool. There's yoga in the morning. I mean, there's a ton, literally. Of
birds fly over when they're supposed to, and
the only thing we couldn't last year, the moose. We had one moose, but he made just a really quick appearance on one part of the trail. But
you reached out to his people earlier this year, so
yeah, we tried to. They're a lot busier than you think. Like they get booked pretty quick,
especially in the fall.
Fall is the time.
So I have a fun, administrative question.
This is going to be a good time. Yeah.
So how have you been marketing this event?
A lot of social media.
Yeah.
We will have some posters coming up. It's been in Cycling West magazine. Just the standard ways too, like website, email, that type of thing. The difficult part is the bandwidth of it, especially when both organizations are busy throughout the rest of the year. So sometimes it does get a late push for marketing.
Well, how early is too early, or when do people make up their decision to run that kind of a race?
Well, so the hard part, and one thing we really tried to focus on with this one is like it's not the end of the year being October, but it's kind of like racing season for both cycling and running. It is. So it's kind of like a celebratory, like just come and have fun, right? But there's people that get their schedules, especially like your more competitive athletes, if that's the way to say it, they'll have a year in advance sometimes on their schedule, right? So
or funding.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty inexpensive to do, but it is a thing. Like because there's a lot of like bigger trail runs in September, like some of the bigger ones are that way. I know that the cycling I'm not as caught up, even though I do have a couple bikes now. I'm an artist.
I'm
Aric
paying you a
can't. He's
compliment.
not allowed to take compliments. Not on this podcast.
His
not.
shirt
So,
matches his shoes.
That he can take a compliment on for
Thank
sure.
He
Yeah.
really didn't. He
But,
didn't even say thank you when I complimented him on
Well,
that.
because I
Well,
didn't think
that's
about it when I
just-
woke up.
That was planned a few
Jeez.
weeks
You
in
have your-
advance.
It
Probably.
Close.
was.
Yeah.
So was
Set out for you, don't you?
I've got an app on my phone.
He's got an app.
You got
Clueless app. You know, one of those clueless
Yeah,
apps.
exactly.
Oh my God,
I
that'd be
This is
amazing.
a good bench.
I can tell
there's
you're
a
being
lot of
humble.
But I think that the reason I ask this is it sounds like this event is going more on the spectator, the participant side. That's not necessarily racing, right? It's just a good time to come hang out, and so that's the audience that I'm always reaching out for. Is not the ones that already know about your events, right?
It's joy.
And that's our goal with anything that we do, even with the city or anything with any sorts of arts organizations, is try to reach those people that are not already in the know, right?
No, exactly. I mean, that's the truth, right? Like,
That's why I'm always curious about where you're finding that.
yeah, and I mean, goals marketing on their side. So it's like
See, that's
bringing
very
two,
helpful, yeah.
bringing two organizations with, there's some definite crossover with the people that are involved with both, but there's not, right? So it's kind of like meshing, two organizations, groups or tribes,
You're closing disparity.
Well, I mean, but that's the whole thing is
between
like
the scope.
bringing people and cultures together. Ogden's been doing it forever, right? With the arts, with the outdoors, with that type of thing. I mean, you guys are a huge key to the art side, right? Like trying to do that. Plus you do your podcast, which brings in the outdoor and the arts, but there's such crossover between the two. We've got a land recognition ceremony that's going to happen, which is going to be super cool.
And it's dark sky, isn't it?
It's a dark sky certified. So we'll have, it's fun. The worst part
Bring
of this
all
event,
your flashlights, all the brightest flashlights. They love that.
But no, I mean, it's just the worst part about it is being the race director. You don't get to enjoy.
Is that your role during the weekend? As race
Event director, myself and Aric. So we try and just be around and take care of things and do what we can. We have two great teams for sure that do a lot, right? And we put them into their, where they want to be filled in. But at the end, like last year we did it, we were running around all weekend long, and it was just
that
really
was sort of
hard.
my negotiations with Bauman. I was because bringing van sessions up there. My question was, do you want us to bring bands or what do you want us to do? And because I'm like, I would like to hang out and enjoy the festivities because it feels
almost
like
ate last year.
Yeah,
At a food truck. It came close.
you almost ate.
I almost
ate. Yeah. So we have a sort of a quasi version of what we normally do, is like a toned down version, but so that we can also just have fun.
Yeah.
Have a good time. Aric, thanks so much for spending some time with us and talking about nuts. And Brian,
Just the nut.
just the nut. That's right. Nuts is copyrighted. We have to stay with just the nut.
Yeah, no S.
Yeah, no S. The nut.
Northern Utah Trailfest.
Trailfest.